If you, however, are incredibly proactive and you want to go to a school that gives you the opportunity to, I don't know, maybe start something or participate in a bunch of different things, or there's something that you really excel at and you want the flexibility to excel at that, go to St. Clement's.
I spoke with Julie, who graduated from St. Clement's School in 2018. The school's all-girls environment and its flexibility within its rigorous academic model helped Julie develop the confidence and independence necessary for her to pursue her post-secondary and career goals. Julie is now studying biological physics at the University of Toronto. Take a look. Can you just start off by just telling us a little bit about what you've been doing since graduating from St. Clement's School?
Sure. So I graduated, it's 2020. I graduated 2.5 years ago in June 2018. And then from there, I just went straight to university. I'm at the University of Toronto, and I'm studying theoretical physics and biological physics. So I've just been attending school like a university graduate. And then I've also been involved in some co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So I've been doing some research. I've done some biology wet lab research, and I've also done some theoretical computational physics research. I'm the president of basically a space club. We do cool outer space stuff at the university. I play some sports, a lot of carryover from St. Clement's in the sense that, I play the same sports. I have a lot of the same hobbies. They've just kind of expanded in scope.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about that carryover. I'm curious how St. Clement's influenced your path, beyond high school. Did the school help you decide on which university to go to? Did it help you kind of choose what program you wanted to study at? I'm just curious how you came to U of T in that program.
Sure. So program, no, in the sense that I've wanted to do this since I was literally 6. And I was not at St. Clement's when I was 6. So that's kind of been a constant. But in terms of the school, definitely, U of T has always been on the radar. I ended up choosing U of T basically because I got a very large scholarship to go to U of T. I'm on a 4-year full ride, and St. Clement's is basically the entire reason that I got that. So it's a combination of the opportunities that St. Clement's gives you. So St. Clement's allowed me to take advantage of, their excellent debating program, because I used to do a lot of debating and public speaking. They were very flexible with my research schedule when I was doing wet lab research in high school. They let me really build that repertoire. And then the guidance counselors were also amazing, and they really helped me with my applications and with interview practice. So then the award came in, and I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. I should go to U of T because this is great. And I don't think that would have happened if it hadn't been for all of the support that St. Clement's gave me. They really pushed me to apply for those things and push myself to the point where I was able to have this opportunity.
Right. Amazing. Well, congrats on that.
Thank you.
And I just want to talk a little bit more about your full experience at St. Clement's. I'm curious, if you were to draft up a resume listing all of your experiences and extracurriculars and achievements at the school, what would that look like? I imagine it would be long, but would you be able to share some highlights?
So I came to St. Clement's in grade 7. I had the highest average in my year in grade 7, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I also had the highest in-course average for almost all of my grade 12 courses. So that's academic. Extracurricular and co-curricular wise, I was student council president. I did debating and public speaking, so I traveled a lot for that. I think the best result I got was I came 2nd in the world at one competition in grade 11. I was on the badminton team for 1 year, 2 years. I was on the softball team for a year, I think. Just a lot. Oh, I was in jazz band. That was fun. But there's just a lot going on. But they're really flexible in the sense that if you're like, I have these things that I want to do, they will 100%, they won't let you sacrifice your academic career to play jazz unless you're really good at it. But they definitely give you room and accommodations to explore your hobbies and what you're interested in, because they recognize that it's not all about grades, which is very nice.
Yeah, for sure. And so keeping all that in mind, what has been maybe your proudest moment at the school? I know you mentioned coming 2nd in the world. I'm sure that was amazing, but is there anything else that you're most proud of?
there was one time in grade 11 when I gave a speech to the school about Tourette syndrome, which was very personal to me because I have it. I think that was like the biggest like moment of personal growth for me. It was very scary. I'm normally not afraid to speak, but I was very afraid to do that one. I think that's probably like the biggest, like the moment that I'm the most personally proud of. And then in terms of like, wow, I really did that, it would be the public speaking thing.
Yeah. And how did that speech come about? Is that something the school encouraged you to do, or something you wanted to do?
It's something that I wanted to do. But I talked to one of the guidance counselors, and they were like so open and ready. And that's one of the other great things about St. Clement's, is that if you as a student have something that you want to say or share that is relevant to the student body as a whole, like they will bend over backwards to make sure that you have the opportunity to like express your voice. Because one of the things that they really value at St. Clement's is the ability for students to be outspoken and talk about the things that are important to them. Like you will never encounter a moment at St. Clement's when a teacher is like, no, you can't, fight for the things that are important to you, which is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say, is that something that you appreciate most about the school, or is there anything else that you really appreciated about the school?
I definitely appreciate that a lot. I think that another thing, I appreciate pretty much everything about St. Clement's. I know that oftentimes, you have girls at private schools, all girls private schools, and the general vibe is, oh, we're so oppressed, school is so difficult, we have all of these hard things. No, St. Clement's, there was that mentality just because, teenagers in an echo chamber, but at the end of the day, pretty much everything they did was so like preparatory and supportive, and it really boosted kind of every positive thing that you would want to have boosted when you send your child to a school. I will say the teachers are phenomenal. I feel like that's something that needs to be said. St. Clement's teachers are so good. They're just so good.
And I want to talk a little bit more about the all-girls experience. Yeah, what was that like? And what in your opinion are the benefits of an all-girls education?
Absolutely. So I think there's definitely a fear when you send your child to an all-girls school that, right, oh no, A, echo chamber, B, bubbles, C, boys exist. I don't think those things are really concerned at St. Clement's, and not because of the whole like, oh, well, we hang out with boys once in a blue moon type argument, more because it's actually kind of beneficial to not be around them, in the sense that having the opportunity to, develop into an outspoken young woman and, not feel beat down about your opinions and not have to worry about, being talked over by boys. Because, to be completely honest, and this is as someone who did go to a co-ed school before coming to St. Clement's, this is as someone who participated in debate, which has like extra outspoken people in a co-ed environment, right? Is that it's very, very easy for girls to get talked over and for that to become the norm. The great thing about the all-girls school environment is that it basically prevents that from happening. So girls become more confident and more outspoken, and then when they leave St. Clement's and they go into the real world, what happens is they're no longer willing to like let people talk over them. So it's an artificial, it's a bit of a contrived environment in the sense that, yeah, it's all girls, but the fact that it's contrived actually lets a mindset develop that doesn't develop in a co-ed environment, and then that confidence is carried over into co-ed environments after high school.
And what most differentiates St. Clement's from other schools, and maybe specifically from other all-girls schools, if you have that insight?
I think it's definitely the small size of the school. If I think about the other all-girls schools, they're significantly larger. And I think that a lot of what makes St. Clement's good, a lot of the things that I talked about with, how accommodating they are and how willing they are to let students speak out and how great the teachers are, it comes in part from how small the school is, right? Like if the school had 4 times as many students, then you can't let a random grade 11 who wants to talk about something close to her heart just get a slot in the assembly, right? That's just, it's not feasible. And you can't make exceptions for every student who wants to, skip class half the time to, in my case, conduct wet lab research or, miss X, Y, or Z, right? I think that it being small allows for a lot more flexibility. And that also comes not only from the logistical aspect, but from the fact that it's a lot easier for the admin and the teachers to fully support you if they know you. And that's a lot easier. That's like so much easier at a small school. And I can't state how important it was for my St. Clement's experience to get to know, the teachers, the admin people, not just like, oh, I'm going to schmooze them so I can get what I want kind of way, but just like saying hi to them, letting them know what you're interested in, getting to know them. It allows you to take advantage of everything the school has to offer. And that's not nearly as possible, I think, in large.
For sure. And your program now in university, is it also a smaller program, or are you in bigger classes? And if you were in bigger classes, how is that adjustment?
So I'm in very small classes now. My program gets very, very small starting in third year. Biological physics, there's like 10 people. But in the first and second years, it's quite large. I think that my biggest class in first year was a biology class that had like thousands of people in it. And I think that the nice thing about going to St. Clement's and again, developing that, confidence and assertiveness is that you're sitting in a room. Oh, and also St. Clement's is very good at preparing you to be independent. Need to emphasize that. So I went into this huge lecture hall where I was literally not allowed to email the professor to ask for help for some reason. I don't know why, but I was not allowed. But it wasn't a problem for me because I already had, all of these independent study skills, and I was assertive enough to, ask for help from, the TAs, which a lot of people were intimidated by, and from my classmates. And I already knew how to take good notes, and I already knew how to write good papers, and I already knew how to study because St. Clement's hammers those skills in really hard from a pretty young age. So it was a bit intimidating, but I definitely was at an advantage compared to my classmates who were largely far less prepared for that kind of environment.
If St. Clement's were to become personified, if you could picture the school as a person, what, maybe 3 personality traits would they have?
Hardworkingness, however you would make that into an actual word. Everyone I knew at St. Clement's was, regardless of what they would say about themselves, a hard worker and someone who was committed to doing the best that they could. I would also say multi-talented. There were very, very few people at St. Clement's that basically only did 1 or 2 things. Everyone was given the room to do pretty much everything and excel at pretty much everything that they wanted to and could. If I had to pick a third one, I'd say, that's kind of tricky. Let's go with, I'll say respectful, just because I do feel that when you compare it in particular to other private schools, the atmosphere was a little bit more comfortable, I think, a little bit less. Entitled is a strong word, but the attitude towards staff and teachers, I think, was generally a little bit healthier and more decent than you would find at other private schools necessarily.
What are the core values of the school? If you can expand on that, and how are they, what are the values in actual practice?
Sure. So, I think I've already expanded on the passion pillar solidly. St. Clement's gives students so much room to explore and excel at what they're interested in. Hopefully I've made that clear. In terms of courage, I think, again, it's that from a young age or as soon as the student comes to school, nurturing that mindset of if you want to excel at something and you're willing to put in the work, you will. No one can tell you, to not do that. No one can talk over you. No one can kind of try to dominate you in an academic sense or in a professional sense unless you let them. And obviously that's a bit of a blanket statement, but I think the point stands that St. Clement's really makes sure that the girls are confident and that they feel like truly from the bottom of their heart as though they can accomplish anything within reason. And I think that that's probably the courage. And then curiosity, I think that's just, that's in everything that they do, in the sense that it's kind of like passion, in the sense that you're given the room to, be curious, and you're not, St. Clement's is very much not a cookie cutter school, in the sense that it doesn't mold every student into the exact same final product. Again, the flexibility, allows a student who is more curious about this, to kind of grow that curiosity instead of, the standard institutionalized education of like, learn these things, get these grades, and abandon all of your childhood dreams. I mean, I think I'm a pretty solid example of not abandoning childhood dreams, seeing as I've had the same goal since I was 6. But yeah, those are the core values, I think.
Yeah, great. And so you mentioned that there's no cookie cutter student, there's no typical student. Is there anything that is common among everyone that goes there? Is there like a common character trait that every student has there?
I think it's kind of like what I said earlier. Pretty much every single student at St. Clement's like works hard, in the sense that I can probably count on one hand the number of students I remember that didn't try really, really hard and push really hard to obtain whatever it was that they wanted to obtain, and to make sure that they were performing well in school, and to study hard for exams and all that stuff. I think that the environment of St. Clement's and the types of students that tends to get accepted into St. Clement's are the types of students that do have that kind of grit when it comes to pushing for the things that they want, regardless of what that is.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that surprised you about the school when you first started, or is there something that would surprise families? Maybe they've done the research, maybe they've visited the school, but then, once they finally enroll in the school, is there something that would surprise them?
I don't think that there's anything particularly unexpected about St. Clement's. Maybe the amount of just the whole school activities that happen, that's less of an academic thing and more of a social thing. But St. Clement's has a lot of just like complete school does all this, not all the same activity, but like, full school celebrations, full school assemblies twice a week. It is a bit not interesting. It's a bit, I didn't expect it when I came to St. Clement's, how often the entire school would get together. But again, I think that then contributes to the community aspect. But it's certainly like not, I think, regular for a school to kind of come together that often.
Right. And so you sort of touched on this, but I'm curious if you can elaborate on how St. Clement's has shaped you as a person, shaped you as the person you are today.
St. Clement's kind of took a small child that had, I think, a solid dose of unfounded confidence and remodeled that into someone who had the experience and I'm not trying to claim I'm particularly worldly because I am only 20, but who had the experience and who had the support to be confident in like a more mature way. You have like a 10-year-old and they're like, I'm gonna rule the world because I don't know, whatever. And it's like, okay, that's cute. And then I think oftentimes a lot of what happens to a lot of people is that, they grow up and they start getting hit with reality checks and maybe, things like life is harder than you thought it was. And, you start becoming less confident. I think St. Clement's really helped maintain my faith in myself. And that was done through, being able to do the debating, being able to talk to people about the things that were important to me, all the stuff I said before, helped me leave St. Clement's as someone who I don't think is arrogant, hopefully not, but who has a solid understanding of what she is capable of and is confident in her ability to accomplish things based on what she knows she is capable of, which I think is, it's a core aspect of how I live my life, which is that if there's something that I want to accomplish and I know that I can accomplish it, I will go for it. There's no second guessing. There's no letting other people convince me that, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I think it's realistic, then I'm going to go for it. And I think that that's something that St. Clement's definitely built from the moment that I got there. They just keep telling the girls, like, you can accomplish this. We're going to support you to accomplish this. Always pursue those things that you think you can accomplish. And then that confidence becomes real as time goes on.
Is there anything that maybe you wished you had available to you when you were there, or something that you think they can improve on in the future?
So it's like a too much of a good thing kind of argument, in the sense that, I think that maybe there's a bit too much handholding in the earlier years.
How has your perspective on the school changed since graduating? Have you come to appreciate it more or realized certain things that you learned?
Definitely. I think that when you're at the school, it's very easy to get stuck in the echo chamber of, again, oh, I'm so oppressed. All of the teachers here give me so much work and it's all so dumb and silly. And then you go to university and you realize how much more prepared you are than everyone else. And you realize how great your teachers were compared to everyone else based on the stories that you heard from your friends. And it's only after you leave and you kind of compare your experience to the experiences of other people that didn't go to St. Clement's that you realize how lucky you were to actually have gone to St. Clement's.
And I just have a couple more questions, more geared towards, speaking directly to prospective families and students. What are the 3 biggest reasons you would tell someone to enroll at the school?
Sure. So I would say enroll at the school if you have a lot of things that you are interested in, if you are a proactive person, and you have the ability to take advantage of the things that St. Clement's offers. You could theoretically go to St. Clement's and just attend class and go home every day, and that would be it. That's a waste. If you, however, are incredibly proactive and you want to go to a school that gives you the opportunity to, I don't know, maybe start something or participate in a bunch of different things, or there's something that you really excel at and you want the flexibility to excel at that, go to St. Clement's. There's so many resources and they're so supportive. If you can take advantage of St. Clement's, the institution, you should go there. I will also say attend St. Clement's if you want a school that is academically rigorous. I do think St. Clement's is academically rigorous, but it's rigorous in a flexible way, in the sense that it's academically rigorous in STEM. It's also academically rigorous in Lit, right? You get, because of the way the St. Clement's course structure works, you start everything early, which means that you have a ton of flexibility by the time you reach grades 10, 11, and 12, which means that they offer a bunch of courses for grades 10, 11, and 12, and you have the ability to tailor a challenging course load to yourself, regardless of what you want that course load to be. So academic rigor is a second one. I will also say, go to St. Clement's or send your child to St. Clement's if you want to see them develop into someone who is confident and hardworking, but not, I think, excessively entitled. I know that a concern some parents, or at least my parents, had when they sent me to St. Clement's was that I was going to come out of it, again, stereotypical private school attributes. That doesn't really happen at St. Clement's, I don't think. If you want the benefits and the academic rigor of a private school, and you also want a private school that will keep your kid humble, I think that this is a pretty good place to send your kid.
Awesome. If you were guiding a family on a tour of the school, what's the first thing you would show them?
I would start at the library. I think our library is really cool. It just got renovated about a year before I left. There's a whole bunch of tech in there, which I think is really useful. St. Clement's has a laptop program, so you can basically check out a laptop there. They have study rooms, like individual seminar rooms for studying with whiteboards. The actual librarians are great and they're lovely, and they're like a great place to start in terms of how welcoming they are. You can see how supportive kind of the entire institution of the library is towards all of the students who come in there. I think it's a epitomization of, or like a microcosm of the St. Clement's environment as a whole, I think, is in that library. So.
Great. One more question for you. So a student has enrolled, they're about to show up for their first day. What's the best piece of advice you can give them?
Get to know people who aren't in your grade. Not in the sense that you need to befriend all of the upper years, but in the sense that knowing, I think, a few people in the admin and knowing your teachers and knowing a few people in the upper years does help you navigate the school, not in that you'll get lost, but that it kind of helps you map out your course in the school. And again, it helps you take advantage of all of those amazing resources and opportunities that St. Clement's has to offer. I would say don't think that the only people you can interact with at the school are the people in your grade. I know that when I came in grade 7, I was so intimidated by even the grade 8s. I was like terrified of them. And if I could go back and redo it, I would tell myself not to be like that and to try and, get involved in, those things even more.
Great. So that's it for my questions. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add that you think we didn't cover? Anything else about the school that you want families to know?
I guess I just reiterate the one thing, which is that St. Clement's is very, in addition to everything else I've said, it's very preparatory. Everything at St. Clement's is designed in one way or another to make sure that the young woman who graduates at the end of grade 12 is someone who is prepared to face the larger world with a really, really useful set of skills. So I think everything really is designed with that in mind. And I think that sets St. Clement's apart from a lot of other schools where the goal is to provide an education, not to provide an education and to actively prepare a group of young women to succeed in the larger environment.